American Pickers alum Frank Fritz's judge makes ruling in case after conservator and guardian risked removal over finances. At an April 4, 2024, Iowa court hearing, Frank's judge reviewed the annual report and went over the American Pickers star's inventory of assets. The U.S. Sun can exclusively reveal the judge overseeing the conservatorship has approved the conservator and guardian's latest annual report, according to court records. A source previously told the U.S. Sun that Frank's conservator and guardian oversee his nearly $6 million fortune as he continues to recover from his health complications. However, the conservator and guardian have risked being removed from the conservatorship nearly twice after failing to file the annual reports by the deadlines. Most recently, Frank's guardian Chris Davis, or his conservator Midwest One Bank, failed to file an annual report due on November 12, 2023. Both Chris and Midwest One Bank are in the clear again. Frank's friends filed the emergency appointment of a temporary guardian and conservator on August 18, 2022. Because of his stroke, Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to care for his own safety or to provide for necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, or medical care, without which physical injury or illness may occur. The U.S. Sun reported at the time of the filing. Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to make, communicate, or carry out important decisions concerning his own financial affairs, the court documents declared. Midwest One Bank was appointed as the conservator to handle Frank's financials. The petitioner requested his longtime friend, Chris, who has been assisting him in decision-making since the stroke, be his guardian. Midwest One Bank filed an initial plan that revealed Frank's monthly expenses as he continues to be on the mend from his health complications. Frank spends $28,292 a month on expenses, and the majority of his budget totals $22,832 spent on in-home health care. His annual health care total is $273,984, and despite Frank no longer receiving an income from American Pickers since leaving the show, an insider revealed it shouldn't impose a financial burden on the star. The source claimed he has his store in Savannah, Illinois. He sells there, and he has a huge farm with all his things. He has $1 million worth of stuff he can sell, and he's set, the insider asserted. The source claimed Frank owns 40 motorcycles and 4 cars, most of which are for sale. Frank has been in and out of rehabilitation since September 6, 2022, when he was released from the hospital. When Frank is home from the rehabilitation center, his Iowa farmhouse has ramps and handles installed. His guardian will assist Frank with his Crohn's disease treatment, continued physical therapy, grocery shopping, cooking, and getting Frank to any activity he feels up to, according to court papers. Frank bought his home for $130,000 on May 14, 2010. The 1,660 square foot farmhouse sits on 0.79 acres of land and features 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The home boasts a basement, barn, shed, and 3 garages. Frank purchased the adjoining property for $25,000 on 0.34 acres of land in 2013. In 2015, he built a 3,240 square foot warehouse on the property that holds several of the collector's classic motorcycles and antiques he has purchased over the years. Frank Fritz, beloved by fans for his role on the hit reality show American Pickers, found himself at the center of a turbulent legal battle, one that cast a shadow over his personal life. After a series of financial missteps that led to the appointment of a conservator and guardian, the judge presiding over the case has now issued a decisive ruling. This ruling has monumental implications not just for Fritz, but also for those who had been entrusted with his care and finances. At the heart of the legal proceedings was a question that weighed heavily on Fritz's future, with a conservator and guardian face removal for their mishandling of financial matters. A fall from the spotlight. Frank Fritz, a man who had once been known for his sharp eye for antiques, and his quirky, charismatic personality on American Pickers, found his life taking a turn in recent years. While fans were initially taken by his partnership with Mike Wolfe as they traveled the country hunting for hidden treasures off-screen, Fritz's world was increasingly consumed by personal challenges. Rumors about Fritz's struggles with health issues had been circulating for months before the news broke that he had been placed under a conservatorship. His back surgery in 2020 had left him with lasting complications, and it was clear that his ability to manage both his personal and professional affairs was in decline. He had reportedly withdrawn from public life, leading some to wonder if the once vibrant Picker had fallen out of touch with the world that had made him famous. As his health worsened, it became evident that Fritz was unable to handle his financial affairs. This prompted a family intervention, with Fritz's loved ones petitioning the court to step in and appoint a conservator. In legal terms, a conservatorship is a legal arrangement where an individual, usually due to physical or mental incapacity, is assigned someone to manage their finances and personal well-being. The case that unfolded. The case took a serious turn when allegations surfaced about the conservator and guardian's financial mismanagement. As Fritz's trusted representatives, they were tasked with safeguarding his assets and ensuring that his affairs were handled responsibly. But when it became known that substantial sums of money had gone missing or were unaccounted for, the court was forced to intervene. Financial experts were brought in to investigate, and the findings were unsettling. The conservator, whose job it was to monitor and protect Fritz's estate, was accused of reckless spending and questionable investment decisions. Meanwhile, the guardian, who was supposed to ensure Fritz's well-being, was criticized for failing to properly track his expenses, resulting in several irregularities in his accounts. For Frank Fritz, this scandal was yet another setback in a life that had already been upended by health problems and personal challenges. However, the most pressing issue now was whether the individuals entrusted with his care could continue in their roles, or if the court would deem them unfit to handle his affairs. The courtroom drama. The courtroom was filled with tension as both sides made their case. The judge, tasked with making a final determination, listened intently to the evidence. The conservator's defense team argued that the financial irregularities were due to honest mistakes and misunderstandings, citing Fritz's declining health and complicated financial portfolio. They assured the court that the mishandling was not intentional, but rather a result of miscommunication and poor judgment. On the other side, Fritz's legal team, which included a new attorney appointed by the family, claimed that the mismanagement went beyond simple errors. They presented evidence showing how the funds were mishandled, how invoices had been ignored, and how expenses had been improperly allocated. The new legal team pushed for the immediate removal of both the conservator and guardian, suggesting that the estate and Fritz's personal well-being had been placed at serious risk. In the courtroom, Fritz's own voice remained largely absent. Health complications had left him unable to testify, and his family members remained reluctant to speak out on his behalf. Still, the weight of the case was apparent, with everyone in the courtroom aware that a poor ruling could leave Fritz financially and personally vulnerable. The judge's ruling. After several weeks of deliberation and a thorough review of all the evidence, the judge issued a ruling that would ultimately bring clarity to the case. In a decision that shocked many, the court ruled to remove the conservator and guardian from their positions. The judge's ruling was unequivocal, stating that the financial mismanagement had been severe and that the individuals in charge of Fritz's care had not acted in his best interests. While the court acknowledged that the intent may not have been malicious, the damages caused were too great to overlook. The ruling made it clear that Fritz's health and finances had been compromised, and a new team of financial managers and guardians would be appointed immediately. In the aftermath of the ruling, Frank Fritz's family and attorneys expressed a mixture of relief and concern. While it was a step in the right direction, they knew that the road ahead would still be difficult. The task now was to rebuild the estate and ensure that Fritz received the proper care and attention moving forward. As for the conservator and guardian, they were left to face the fallout from their actions. Both were stripped of their duties and ordered to pay restitution for the damages caused. The judge, however, did not impose further criminal penalties, acknowledging that the situation was largely a product of mismanagement rather than intentional fraud.